What's going on, guys and gals? This is Autotech. As you can probably gather from the dead grass everywhere and the poorly set up roads and everybody driving so slow, I am back in old Calgary, Alberta. So what I wanted to do is just kind of update you guys on what I've been up to since I got back. I mean, I got back yesterday, so not a whole lot of news to let you know about there, but I didn't end up recording anything on the way home because I went the east way through Snoqualmie into Spokane, and then I went like north to like Bonner's Ferry and stuff like that, and then like into Cranbrook, BC. And surprisingly enough, like that way I could have probably ridden the whole way. Like I really didn't come across much of anything other than just like super cold temperatures kind of going through the passes by Cranbrook through Fernie there, and then you know, like Fernie till you get to like Crow's Nest Pass or whatever. So it definitely could have been doable on the bike, but how was I supposed to know? And then especially with that trip going down, you know, that definitely wouldn't have been smart on the motorcycle. I actually ended up just like burning straight through the night, getting home. I finished up my exams and everything, and I mean, I passed, of course, but I ended up getting out at like a decent time, so I checked out of my hotel, and I was like, okay, well, I'll go to like Spokane, and then at least it gives me a good head start, so I don't have to have such a long day. Especially coming back from Seattle, you end up gaining an hour or losing an hour, whatever you want to call it. Calgary's an hour ahead, so you know, if I left Seattle at 6 in the morning, I'm technically still leaving like in Calgary time 7. So driving straight through the night, now that drive suddenly becomes like 15 hours instead of like 13 and a half, 14. It doesn't actually change the drive itself, but what it does is it just adds an extra hour on the clock. So yeah, back to the return trip story. So I decided, like it was kind of early afternoon, so I'll just get on the road, get to like Spokane, stay for the night or whatever. And so traffic ended up being like really good getting out of Seattle. So I was in the Snoqualmie like within 40 minutes, I want to say. So that was pretty good timing. And then it was about like late afternoon, and I got into Spokane. So I stopped, got like gas and coffee, and I was having a smoke, and I was looking at like local hotels or motels or whatever. And I was kind of thinking, and I was like, well, I'm not the slightest bit tired, and I'm not even really all that hungry yet, so I'll carry on. I'll go to Cranbrook, which is only a couple hours away, and depending on how I get jammed up at the border or whatever, like if I end up losing an hour due to inspections or whatever, then yeah, I'll definitely stay at Cranbrook. So I carried on, kept going, and I ended up just slipping right across the border. I don't even think that guy wanted to be there, because I rolled up and he's like, what'd you buy? And I was like, oh, you know, I bought some of this and that, and I've got like 10 packs of cigarettes with me. And he's like, what's in the trailer? And I was like, oh, it's my Harley day. And he's like, hey, carry on, hands me my passport. And I was like, you don't even want to see it? Like, I've got the registration right here. And he's, carry on. Damn it. I wish it was always that easy. So I ended up getting into Cranbrook, and I was having some dinner, and it was dark at this point, and I was coming across some wildlife and whatnot, and you know, not a big deal. I mean, you can just kind of get used to that driving at night, especially in the mountain areas. But I still wasn't tired, so I was like, okay, well, I'll carry on to Fernie then. Like, that's only another hour and a half away or so. Not a huge deal. So yeah, I carried on, and I kind of got caught up with this like pack of drivers or whatever, and I was right in the middle, and boy, they were really cooking her. I mean, I was having to use 2 hands while driving my truck and trailer through some of those mountain roads, keeping up with these guys. And I ended up getting to Fernie in like record time, allegedly. And so at that point, it was like just about midnight, and I was like, well, do I want to spend 80 bucks on a hotel for like what, 6 hours? Like I'm gonna get up at 6 in the morning and come home. So let's just keep on keeping on. I mean, worst case scenario, I'll just pull over and sleep in the truck for a few hours. Saves me a bunch of money. So you know, what's the point in checking in, taking my stuff out of the truck, and then having to deal with it all in the morning? I'll just keep going and sleep in the truck when I get tired. And then I kept carrying on, and I was kind of getting to not Claire's home, but like Longview on Highway 22 there, and I was getting tired at that point, but I was like, oh man, I'm like an hour away from home. So I just grabbed a coffee at the truck stop and then just kept on going. I ended up getting home at about 2 o'clock, and yeah, maybe a touch after 2 or so, not a big deal. And I just parked the truck and trailer out front. Like, the bike was locked up in the trailer as it had been all week, so I really wasn't too concerned about somebody stealing it. You know, the going thing around my area seems to be people breaking into garages, not like trailers and vehicles and stuff. And so it was almost safer in the trailer. So I brought my bags in the house, and then ended up just, yeah, going to bed. So there was you know, there's a really long, drawn-out story. Like, I really could have just summed it up as I got out of school early and I ended up driving straight through and arriving late at night. But I wanted to give you guys the visual, like, the journey to get there, so that you can just close your eyes and imagine it. It sucks being home, though. I'm not a big fan of Calgary these days, and yeah, you know, the traffic. I went out yesterday to pick some stuff up after I unloaded the trailer, and I was like, for the amount of time I've been sitting in this damn 2-lane traffic, I could have been to, like, Renton. Where's my HOV lanes at? Like, ugh. I actually find, I don't know if this is just me being a pussy or not, but I find when I'm in the little bit more humid climate, I actually, like, feel better. Like, I breathe easier, and like, my elbow feels better. Like, long story short on that one, like, I completely shattered that elbow a few years ago, so it's pretty well held together with just nothing but pins and plates and nuts and bolts. And so, like, when it gets cold out, or we get these, like, high pressures and stuff, like, it actually does ache. Like, it feels like arthritis. I always thought old people were just kidding, like, oh yeah, wait till you get older. And it's like, well, getting older now, and I'm starting to notice I get stiff at certain times. So, you know, now that I'm back, like, I notice, like, I'm coughing a touch more. And I mean, yes, the simplest solution to that scenario is just, like, cut back the smoking or quit altogether, but I'm not ready for that yet, and I still enjoy it far too much. I'm actually on my way to Red Deer, Alberta right now. This could be very well the last trip out of town for the motorcycle. I keep saying that like every single video, but this time it's actually happening. Today is supposed to be, what is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be like 12 degrees Celsius, so I don't know, what is that, like 50 Fahrenheit? So, I mean, that's warm temperatures. And so I'm going to rip up to Red Deer, do some stuff, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm actually going to wash the bike, kind of get it somewhat ready just in case, like get all the muck and stuff off it, especially from riding in the rain in Seattle there, and definitely top up my tank, put stabilizer in it, and basically I think it's not tomorrow, but the day after, it's going to be dropping about like 20 degrees, and then it's snow forecasted pretty well as far as the forecast goes. Now, the thing with Calgary is they could be forecasting the end of the world, and then the next day it's, you know, t-shirt weather and sunny. So you've got to take that weather with a little bit of grain of salt. But when it gets to this time of the year, like, you just kind of want to have your bike slightly ready just in case. Like, you don't want to leave it covered in crap and an empty tank, and then suddenly, oh yeah, surprise, like, this season's over, and now your bike's gonna have to sit all winter, or you're gonna have to figure out a way to clean it, and then like get that road grime off, and then fill it up with gas. So it's easier just to do it beforehand. I'm not going to drag this one out too terribly much longer. I think it's pretty long already, and you guys really don't want to see the ride to Red Deer. It's pretty well like this, and then make a right-hand turn in about 85 kilometers, so it's nothing exciting. And I don't care what people say, like, oh, take the back roads. It's like the back roads are the exact same as this. They're just 2 lanes. You make a right turn, you go straight for a bit. You make a left turn, you go straight for a bit, and then it's like, ugh, why not just get there? So I just want to let you guys know that I'm back, and I'm not happy about it. I wish I could have stayed. So now it's kind of getting to that time to start planning the summer trips. I mean, I like to do that months in advance so that I can just depress myself for about 8 months. Not entirely sure how I'm gonna end up showing you guys the Seattle videos. I kind of need to go through, see what my scheduling looks like my YouTube scheduling, because I definitely don't want a repeat of last winter. So I have banked some stuff up, and I'm pretty sure I'm good to go till the spring at least, especially with some of the repairs I got to make on this bike over the winter. Those will make for some good how-tos. And so I'm not sure if I'm going to pump these out two a week, 1 a week, offset them with another video. I guess you guys will find out, because I mean, this will be the last of the Seattle series or whatever, even though it's not in Seattle. Sorry about that. Thanks for taking the time and watching, guys. And if you're new to this, make sure you go on and hit that subscribe button. I do have some pretty sweet stuff coming for the winter that I've been holding on to. So thanks again, guys.